All right, so this video is going to show you how to play Pokemon Crystal Legacy. We're going to split this up into 3 parts. The first is just going to be some basic background information to get you familiar with ROM hacking. You can skip that if you know what you're doing already. The second is going to show you how to build and acquire Pokemon Crystal Legacy. The last part will show you how to play it. So the first thing we're going to look at is really just like, you're going to listen to me explain what we're doing here. Basically, there used to be old ways to play games, okay? But what people have done is they've made it so that you can basically play games on your computer on other devices, okay? So there's 2 components that allow you to do this. The first is called an emulator. Basically, what an emulator is it's literally what it is. It's an emulation of a hardware device. So in this case, it's an emulation of a Game Boy Advance. So it has all the functions, okay? You can play Game Boy Advance games, you can play Game Boy Color games, but you can't play like Super Nintendo games or like GameCube games, right? A Game Boy Advance would be able to play Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games, okay? So think of this as our software that is just pretending to be a Game Boy, okay? The other piece of the puzzle is the cartridge, right? It's exactly like what you would need in a regular, you know, like playing in the real world, right? You need a cartridge. So you have, in this case, a legally acquired that you will have to go out and get yourself, okay? You have a copy of Pokemon Crystal, and then what you're going to have to do is basically you insert it, and you're inserting the ROM or the Game Boy Color cartridge into the game, right? And boom, there you go. It's playing it on a computer, on a Mac, even an iPhone. You know, it's all doable, right? That's basically what we're doing here. Now, I have a copy of Pokemon Crystal, okay? This is just Pokemon Crystal. I cannot distribute to you the copy of Pokemon Crystal because, like, again, this is like Nintendo's property. I've paid for my own version. I've gone and I've legally acquired this. You'll have to do that yourself, okay? But what I'm going to be providing you, and this is taking us into the second part of this video, is a patch file, okay? So what I'm going to be providing you, if you want to come down into the video description here, is a patch file, a patching software, okay? Those 2 things are going to allow you to get Pokemon Crystal Legacy, okay? So there are links for the PC guide and the Mac guide, but basically that first link is going to take you to a file, and you're just going to want to download that, okay? So this is the patch, okay? What a patch is it's a string of information that is basically containing the changes that we have made to Pokemon Crystal, okay? So it's all the data that says, actually, Lance doesn't have a level 50 Dragonite. He actually has a level 56 Dragonite, and it has this move and that move, right? So it's all this is, okay? You've downloaded it. It's going to be, you're going to need a like Winrar if you want to extract it. But just download an extractor. Winrar is great. And then you'll get the zip file open, and you're going to have a few versions here, okay? So what these versions are for, you guys obviously are going to have different versions of Pokemon Crystal. Most of you are probably going to have USA and Europe revised 1. That's called version 1.1. It's just like a slightly updated version of Crystal. That's the version I have. And basically what you're getting is this IPS file. This is the patch file that I was talking about. Okay, so this is the data of Pokemon Crystal Legacy. What we're going to be doing, okay, is just drag it over into wherever you have your a copy of Crystal. Basically, we're just going to be merging these 2 files together. This middle file here, I can just delete it for now, but that's basically just a save file. That's the data of the ROM hack. But these are the 2 files we're going to be merging together, okay? So to merge them together, you need another software. The middle link, is the software to do that. So if you're on PC, it's going to take you to the software known as Lunar IPS. And then if you're doing it on Mac, it's going to take you to Multipatch. Basically, they're the exact same thing. So if you're on Mac, you're going to apply the patch, which is the file that I've given you into the first like input. The second one will be the copy of Crystal, and then basically you just want to title and like select your output, and that's literally all there is. So this is basically what you'll see on Mac. If you are doing it on PC, I'll just show you guys how to download. So you'll click just that little link there. It says links download file now. It's gonna take you to a little password. So we're just gonna put in. I can zoom in that a little bit. You're just gonna input whatever like little captcha you see there. Hit I am human, and it's gonna give you a download. Okay, so I have downloaded Lunar before, but basically, again, you've got a few files here. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna extract Lunar over to here, and then I'm going to open it up. Okay, so it's just this little guy. That's all this is, okay? So if you want to follow on Mac or PC, feel free to do so. But what you're doing is you are going to apply IPS patch, okay? So select IPS file to use, okay? You apply the IPS patch, which is the file that I have provided you. And then it's going to, right after that, say select file to patch, and you're just inputting your copy of Crystal, okay? And then it's going to say the file was successfully patched. Boom, there you go. It's literally that simple, okay? So now you have, it says Pokemon Crystal version. You can feel free to rename it. I would say like maybe Pokemon Crystal Legacy. Okay, boom, there you go. Drop this in, and you'll know that it's working because if we skip ahead here, Pokemon Crystal Legacy, okay? So there you go. To play it, again, wherever you want your files to be, you're basically just going to drag and drop. You're just going to drag and drop into this emulator, which is, of course, the last piece of the puzzle. So if you want to download the emulator, follow the bottom link, okay? So it's the same for the Mac and PC guide. This is going to be like, there's a few options here, basically. So, I mean, most of you are going to be on Windows or Mac. Most of you are going to be on Windows. So just hit Windows Installer and download that. If you're on Mac, I would do, well, it would just depend on what version you're on. If you're on the latest, like updated version of Mac, just hit the Mac OS Modern. For us PC guys, you're gonna have a new download, and wherever your download folder is, and basically you just want to open that up. You're gonna do it in English. It's gonna take you to the setup wizard. So hit next. I accept the agreement. You should create a desktop file, a desktop shortcut, and then register file associations. Have all these selected. So if it sees a .gbc file, it would say, oh, that's for MGBA, and it just make your life a little bit easier. So hit next and then install, and MGBA will download. You don't really need to view the README or the changes, but just launch MGBA. And there you go. Okay, so there now you have your Game Boy, which is what I was basically just showing you guys. So with all that done, find your Crystal file, and again, you literally from here on, you're just boom, you're dropping it in, and now you can play it. Exact same thing. Exact same process for Mac. Also, just keep in mind that whatever folder you have the game cartridge in, a .save or .sav file is going to start in there. That's literally just your save information. So you may want to copy and paste that into another folder as a backup, but that's important. That's basically your continue file. The only thing I will just say very quickly, like just when it comes to the emulation, and you might want to do like keyboard and controllers. If you're playing on a keyboard, basically what you would do is like, so up, like you could put it as like W, left A, like right D and down, right? So like your WASD configuration, and then A and B could be whatever you really want it to be. So this is basically just like, the one thing you'll need to know just to get yourself up and running is just go like, again, tools, settings, and keyboard. And basically each spot is just you assigning what your keyboard inputs will be to play the game. So that's hopefully that makes sense. Other than that, that is pretty much it as far as PC and Mac goes. The last thing I'll make mention of is how to play on Android and iPhone. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, and I think it's outside the depth and scale of this video. So what I'm going to do is link 3 really other great resources to help you do that, okay? So the first one will be showing you how to take the ROM that you have configured on PC or Mac, how to play that on Android. There'll be another video how to take and play that on iPhone, which is actually very quite complicated. And then the last thing will actually show you how to patch it on Android. Now, you cannot patch it on iPhone as it's just too strict. And it's also quite complicated to do it on Android, so I don't recommend doing that. But in case you don't have a PC or Mac, that is an option. If you only have an iPhone, it's just not gonna work, and I'm sorry. Hopefully that is everything you need to know. Again, the biggest thing is if you don't understand something, the internet is the world's greatest resource ever. And you can Google search, you can YouTube search how to do things, okay? You're better than you think. You can do this. Happy playing, and I will see you later. Bye.